show where we talk about building sexy brands and turning them into profit-making machines. I'm your hostess of the mostest, Rhonda Swan. Ladies and gents, I'm also the CEO and founder of the Unstoppable Branding Agency and the Sexy Brand Building Formulas, right? Where we help our clients take their art from their heart, bring it out into the world, productize their knowledge, and sell it to the world as a sexy brand. So I'm really excited to have all of you guys today. Welcome to my new office, by the way. First show in the new office. It is not done. Let me just tell you, I'm having some dramas over here. I'm going to have to get some advice from all of you about where and what we should do. I'll have probably a show about just putting together my office. But we're going to get started, everyone. By the way, please, when you start, because you are either listening to this live and in color on my Unstoppable Mamas show page, please tell us where you're coming in from. Share this show with people you love, because the topic and the guest is going to blow you away today. If you're listening on the podcast or you're listening as the replay, you need to join us live. It's so much more fun to see and be part of the activity and the energy. And we do this show every single Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time at 10 p.m. Eastern. Or if you are in Bali or in Perth, Australia, it's at 10 a.m. on Thursday. So we get a sneak peek into your future. All right, everyone, I'm really pumped today because, as you know, I am so big about branding and how to not only bring our brand to the world in a non-salesy, really, when I say sexy, you know what that means to me. It means someone that just knows who they are, what they do. You stand strong with the power that you've got, and you share it with the world on the platforms that your audience is looking at, and you share it with the world in a way that's connected. It tells the story and just makes people go, wow, I just love that person. I love that company. I love that brand. I've got to work with them, or I've got to buy from them, or I need to be part of their world. That's what sexy is to me, because working online for the last 13 years, I have seen some of the worst marketing done and the worst brands slamming stuff in your face. And so I've decided today to bring in a very, very special guest. And I want everyone to give her an unstoppable love and energy and welcome, because this woman is unbelievable. She has not only created multiple seven-figure businesses, she's created an incredible publication called YMag, and is changing people's lives through their story, taking their brand, putting it inside the most gorgeous magazine, one of the top magazines in Australia for women, and showcasing their story. And I thought, wow, this is exactly what I do, but I do it online. And what better way to bring out what you do to allow someone to see the most gorgeous, sexy layout platform inside of a magazine that allows someone to just really get connected to you. I know a lot of you book readers there. You know me, I'm an audio girl. But man, there's so many people that like to feel and touch. And when you can do that and read someone's story and just be engulfed in it, you're connected. And so when I knew what this woman did, I said, oh my goodness, we've got to talk first off. I need to have her on my show. So without any further ado, I would love to bring on Shar Moore, all the way coming in from, where at in Australia, Shar?
Gold Coast.
Yes, that's it. You're on the Gold Coast. The CEO and founder of YMag. Lovely lady. Welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
Amazing. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you so much for having me. Like you, I'm an unstoppable mama, and we've just got, it's a beautiful synergy, you and me, actually. You're online, I'm offline, and the two worlds meet, and together, you know, amazing things can happen. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's my pleasure. I'm really excited for everyone to hear not only your story, but exactly why you're doing what you're doing and how it came about. I was just watching Shar a couple weeks ago. You were in the Amalfi Coast. Oh my gosh. My favorite, right? My favorite.
Someone had to do it, you know. I had to have a magazine photo shoot on the Amalfi Coast. Like, isn't that everyone's dream?
Oh, it's amazing. It is. Were you in Positano?
Yeah, so we spent a week in Positano, right down the bottom near the water. We've got this beautiful villa, like 2 steps away from the church and all the restaurants. And then we kind of went from there to other places, so Rento, Capri, Amalfi, and did the photo shoot in a few different places. But oh my God, I left a piece of my heart there. Cannot wait to go back.
Oh, I believe it. I love that spot. So it was really lovely seeing you, and also seeing the connection that you've got with your husband. I think you were celebrating an anniversary, right? And so what an
26 years.
amazing, way to connect and do that. And I was just like, yay, it's so enamored. I love it. So share with us, lovely lady. Please introduce yourself to my audience. I've got entrepreneurs, unstoppable mamas, and those that are really truly care about getting their art from their heart. And I know that's connected to you. So please share where you came from, where you are, and let's talk about how to get our story into more PR, magazines, and publications.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Look, I think that, you talk about art from the heart. I talk about your soul's fingerprint. We all know that our fingerprint is unique. But what we don't connect the dots with is that our soul has its own journey. We're here to actually live out our purpose in life and be the change we want to see in the world, like Gandhi said. But we need to do that by living our purpose and being everything we can be, and finding our tribe of people who need what we are offering. So I talk about living your soul's fingerprint. It's your destiny, purpose, whatever you want to call it. I call it your why. And when we were in Capri, I actually found this gorgeous red hot chili why hand,
Oh,
and everything we do is about helping you find your why. But for me, that was a real journey, Rhonda. And so many people can look at the finished product, and not that I'm saying I'm anywhere near finished, but they look at the now and they go, oh, it's all right for her, she's got it all together. But what they don't see is, and I don't know if you can see in the shot here, I've got a picture of me when I was 5 years old. And then I've got a picture of me on my own magazine that I created with no magazine experience as the cover girl nationally in Australia. And what I wanted to show by sharing that photo was that I'm Indian, born in Thailand. And at the age of 4.5, we moved out to Australia. But my grandparents had organised, and this was discussed before I was born, that I would be engaged to a man 9 years older than me. So from age 11, growing up in a country school in Victoria, with blonde hair, blue eyes and freckled girls, living that Western life, here I was the only Indian girl, dark hair, dark eyes, tan skin, wearing an engagement ring at 11. Can you imagine the bullying, the isolation, the you're not good enough, being left on that seat when teens were being picked? No one wants the weird girl. So I grew up and had this negative energy surrounding me through the culture that, speak when spoken to, leave the jokes to your brother, he's the funny one. You've got nothing important to say, shh, 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 shh. And that's the energy I grew up with. And it was at 15 and a half that my Australian stepfather, my hero, my mentor, my daddy, actually found out about this arrangement. He wasn't aware of it. And he actually asked me the pivotal question, which literally just rocked my world and shifted it on a whole nother dimension. He asked me when he found out, is this what you want? Now, I had never been asked my opinion. It didn't matter, because good Indian girl, you do as you're told. It's cultural. You just say yes and you go through the motions. And of course, I eventually said no, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know I could say that. So it sent me on this whole trajectory. And I actually met my husband when we were first working at 17, got married at 22, just celebrated 26 years with a man I chose, that I knew was the right guy for me. But along the way, it was all of this. When you've been told for so long you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you don't have a voice. I was told I was an introvert because, I was very quiet and shy, but I was a smothered extrovert that had never been given a stage. And by having someone who loved on me so much, it's ironic that, one, I'm an international paid keynote speaker. They paid for my words that I was told didn't matter, and here I am on the cover of a magazine with no experience. I'm not qualified. I had a dirty, barely finished year 11 report card because I was supposed to be getting married that year. So education just didn't feature. It didn't matter what education I got. I just needed to get to the right age to be married. But here I've held corporate positions in Thailand. We've lived and worked overseas in the Middle East and Thailand. I've opened businesses in the Middle East that, I've done extremely well. I've come back to Australia and created businesses. I've been affected by the Queensland floods and been wiped out yet again and rebuilt yet again when I wrote Broke to BMW, my first book. Fell into mentoring. I'm now mentoring and have been, women that want to find their path and And now the magazine, you know, I walked into a newsagent when I was on the bathroom floor. I was at my lowest. We'd moved back to Australia. I'd lost all this money in the floods because my businesses just went down. And I went into a newsagent to find something that could empower me, that was real, that wasn't celebrity-based and gossip-based and diet and fashion. I wanted something that someone was actually a magazine for the thinking woman, a woman that wasn't going to be insulted.
Shar, can I interrupt you just really quick?
Sure.
Okay. Because you just shared probably a story that it just hit me in the heart and like shocked me. And we have to pause before we go into the business side of it, because that's absolutely mind-blowing. First off, I've never experienced, I've heard about these type of things happening, and you know, we are unstoppable mamas here, right? And the fact that just to see the pure tenacity and the dedication, but knowingness of who you are. And so first I want to honor your stepfather, because he changed the trajectory of your life, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Amazing man. And it's just having someone that saw potentially me, and that's what we all need. And I didn't realize then what that was called. Yeah. And he just saw me being more than my current reality and presented that to me. And again, that was not an easy thing for him to do. So we all need that. And I'm so blessed and grateful. And that's why I pay that forward in the roles that I have in my businesses and my life, because I don't want what he did for me to go unnoticed. And that's why we, adopted our daughter from India when she was 6 days old. And we have our 2 boys that are grown men now. But we fundraise for girls in India that are on the streets and put them through education, so that my dad's gift to me is paid forward every way. And we just got back from India as well.
It's extremely inspiring, but more importantly, what it is, it just allows us all to see in the mirror that it doesn't matter where you come from or what you are. You can, with just a little bit of hope and support and total belief in yourself. I mean, I know the women that are here watching, we've all go through stuff. And I always say this on my show, I'm like, look, this is the cycle of life, right? You're either in a shitstorm coming out of one or coming back in one. Just get ready, right? And just know, if you can learn how to move with the waves, but get that stuff is going to happen and no excuses, look what you can do. And you, even as an 11-year-old, a 15-year-old, boom, just said, nope, I'm worthy. I am worthy. And it just took someone to give you that little hint of belief. And I wanted just to honor that moment, because I think this is extremely inspiring, not only with what you've done, but now to where you're at. You've completed this. Now you're like, okay, boom, here I've lost my business in the floods in Australia. And now how do I go in and do what I want when everyone said, no way, women's magazines, no chance. Please, Shar, you're over it. And now look at what you're doing. So now let's go to that, Velma, because you
Thank you. Look, you know, it was just one of those moments, and you know, we all believe that our story isn't powerful, and that's the biggest mistake we can make. And I never wanted to share it because I was embarrassed, and, you know, maybe people would judge me. And the moment I started opening my mouth and, you know, watching audiences around the world and their responses, and it makes them realize we are all equal. We all have our stuff. Bring your stuff with you, but make it count. You know, don't just use it as leverage. We can either be victim or victorious, and I just chose victorious by surrounding myself with the right people. I'm not saying it was a magic pill, but I walked into that newsagent, Rhonda, and I just, you know, I was facing bankruptcy, and I literally thought to myself, everyone that said I was useless and had no gifts were right. And I should have listened. And what was I thinking as an Indian woman to start a business? Who did I think I was? And I walked into the newsagent and I thought, there must be a Thinking Woman's magazine here with real women that I could bump into at a coffee shop, you know, that were sharing their adversity stories and what did they do and how were they thinking and how did they move forward. And because I've been out of the country for 8 years when we were traveling and working, I didn't realise how bad magazines had gotten. And I actually came out of there looking through all of them and I was really angry. And then I said, Shar, be the change. Stop complaining about something, do something about it. So I'm sitting there going, yeah, right, I'll start a magazine. I had zero experience, like -0. But I knew why, and I figured the how would find me, because the why is the most important thing. So here we are, you know, launching a magazine. Back then it was digital, and we ran the YMag for 4.5 years. The purpose behind YMag is it's real, it's tangible, it's talking about your purpose in life, your why, sharing real women on the covers, no celebrities, no gossip, no diet, no fashion. We don't want to know, there's enough of that. We can get access to that whenever we need it. But let's talk about the things that actually matter. What's the legacy you're going to be leaving behind? Why do you get up every day? And so after 4.5 years, our readers actually crowdfunded us and took us to a print product. And we launched from digital to print in the most lowest print form market in Australia. So many print houses were closing. And I said, I'm going to take this to print. And nearly everyone around me that I told said I was crazy. And I know your story, like, what are you doing? I had a very successful mentoring business. I was running events, over 300 events in Australia for professionals, and they were doing extremely well. And I was going to close both of those businesses to take a digital product to print. Like, really? And here we are 2 years later, being sold all over Australia and in airports, which is so hard to get into. And it just goes to show that, again, if you know the why, you'll find the how. But I just knew in my heart that professional women in Australia, entrepreneurial, savvy, unstoppable mamas, wanted something real. They love digital, and they were all across that. But what they wanted was some time out. They want to get sent to their room with a good magazine, glass of wine, cup of tea, and they want to read an article like we featured your beautiful daughter. We have a section called Why Teens, and we featured gorgeous Hanalei because we like to showcase teenagers. They're our future. And it gives mums at our age no excuse to go, way, I can't do that. If she can, I can. We just wanted a way to create a non-disruptive environment to consume content that was going to shift your life without an email or Twitter or Instagram pinging on the page, just you and a good mag. And 2 years later, we're still running.
Wow. Okay. This is awesome. I love this. First off, the article that you ran and the feature you ran for Hanalei, I'm so excited to actually touch and feel it.
We'll get one.
Right. And it's really interesting because everyone knows me here. I'm about numbers, I'm about measurement, I'm about traffic. Right. And there's something that just shifted for me recently. Not only when Shar put Hanalei in the magazine, Hanalei was featured in a few other magazines. And what I realized is there is such a bigger audience that does love that feels. It's a feels moment, isn't it?
It's a tactile thing.
That's it, right? And to be able to just connect and to sit with a good mag. I love how you said that. There's nothing pinging at you. It's undisrupted. And I started to really understand, because, you know, everyone says it, newspaper, magazines. I used to do newspaper ads when I was running my business, like 3-line ads. Like back 13 years ago, that's all I did, right? It was ridiculous to even think I did that. And now, even still, if you've seen publications and they maintain their print, but they've gone online as well. And so I started to realize, like, wow, the power of being on the cover of a magazine, the back cover of a magazine, and to be able to have you featured, like the credibility that gives immediately to, let's say, your speaker, your coach, your consultant, and on your website, it's got a stamp that says, I was featured on YMag, or I was featured here, is powerful. It's instant brand positioning. So I'm going to say it on the record, is that I now understand the value of the layering of having something that's sitting, that you can hold on to, that you can showcase that you're in. And of course, now you are also online as well, right? So
we're still online. We're still online. We've always been digital, and we won't change that. And it is a blend of both worlds. But the so-called rumor of print is dead, it's so not.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, just look at, if you're in airports, just imagine how many of you, by the way, our followers, our watchers, how many of you could imagine, I just saw Letitia go, oh my gosh, I need to be on that magazine, right? They're already like, oh my gosh, I need to be on that magazine. How many of you could imagine and see yourself, just imagine you've got this gorgeous publication and you're on the front cover and your whole story is featured. And now when you're communicating or sharing on your shows or on podcasts, or you're going on to stages, can you imagine pitching yourself and saying, yes, I've also been featured on the cover of Y Magazine, one of Australia's top magazine for women. Like, do you realize the positioning that does for your brand and for the acceptance of the promoter? It's massive. And I know this because everyone knows I put media kits together for all of our inner circle and our private clients. They need this stuff. They need to say, yes, I've spoken here. I've been on this podcast. I'm on the cover of the YMag. I'm here. They've been on my show. Like, I give them banners to say they've been on my show so they can show that credibility. So, and this is powerful, and I appreciate this, Shar. Share more about the women, please, the stories. How is the story told, right? How do you really showcase them?
Absolutely, and thank you. And I, of course, believe and agree with everything you said. And there's a real swing back towards tactile products, turning up in your letterbox rather than bills and junk mail. The key thing that we do differently, Rhonda, and I guess this is a really critical point. We know our market. We know the lane we want to play in. We aren't printing 100,000 copies and saying we're everywhere and then hiding them in our garage. We are authentic. We print 6,500 and some issues 10,000 that are distributed carefully. We do our stats. We know exactly where our reader is located. And the way that we do things is we focus on the why. So you think about a lot of other magazines especially, and I'll stay in my lane here because I know this space. A lot of magazines talk about, here's what I do. This is what I do. What, when, maybe, here, and how you can find us. No one talks about why. So our readers expect us, don't tell me what she does until you tell me why she does it. When we go into our what energy, we're in our head and we're processing analytically. What we need to do is help our reader understand why you get up out of bed every day. Why are you doing the unstoppable hustle? Why do your feet touch the ground? So our editorial team, I'm so grateful and blessed. We've got a beautiful lady that works with us since we started. She was with magazines for 35 years in New York. She knows the game. And I've learned so much from her, and I'm so grateful. She interviews people over email and pulls out all these questions about their life, their background, their business, and writes their why story. So we share the why story, the person and the brand. And then later in the magazine, we share what they do in a typical sort of advertisement. But by then our readers go, I love this woman. Whatever she's doing, I want some. And that's the key difference between us and other products. We share the why before the what.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. I mean, that's exactly how we lead. And we know this, the world deserves to be more connected to the why side of it all. I mean, Simon Sinek is one of my favorite books, right? And start with why, because I think that's, we lose that a bit, don't we? Corporations lose it. They just get so into pushing in the marketing side.
Bottom line, yeah.
The benefits opposed to where did this come from? And I tell you, building my daughter's brand as well, yeah, she's a 12-year-old, so it's an interesting story. Why in their story, and it's harder sometimes for the owner to do or the brand them to do, right? So you take out the essence of their story and bring it out so that others can really connect to that. Talk more deeply about how the process is, how you pull that story the right way, because I know a lot of my followers will be like, I don't even know how to tell my story that well yet. How do I do it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we don't leave it with our featured story, cover people or our special features, because we often downplay our own lives and our achievements, our successes, and the F word. I don't like to use failure, but people do see that as something they've done. So, and often we skip past it because we think, oh, no one will be interested. Our story to us is boring. It's an old record. But to someone else, like when I share my story as a keynote, I share it at third person. I never talk about it as me because I don't look traditionally Indian. So I break myself away from the story. And for about 15 odd minutes, I talk about a young Indian girl and the story. And then I bring it to centre stage and I say, who would like to know what this little girl's doing now? And half of the room are like, it's her. And half of the room like, no way. But that just makes them go on the story for themselves. And the way we do it in the magazine is similar. It's funny, when we've actually written, we've delved through, we Google the bejeebies out of people. We go through their LinkedIn, their website, their Facebooks. We look at their posts and their videos they've done. And then my editorial team will piece together the right questions. And then we ask the person to answer the questions. And then from there, we write the story. And it's funny because we often send the story back to our featured cover people or whatever. And they're like, oh, is that me? Like, wow, I'm really good. Gee, wow. It's quite funny listening to their reaction. Like, wow, I sound really good. So we take control of that because we know that when we can showcase you to yourself, but also to our readers, they're going to fall in love with your why. Then they want to know your what.
Yeah, I love this. In fact, our audience is really vibing on you. We always do this. We're like, give some more, it's our virtual vibes, right? Give that hearts and love for Shar. And if you're listening to this in the podcast or replay, just imagine being able to tell your story that way. And I love this, Becky saying, it's so true. When you hear it from someone else's perspective, your story comes out in such a different way. And, being in marketing, I know that third-party validation, right? That's why we have testimonials. We ask people to share, what did you get from me? Like, what have you learned? Or can you share it in your own voice? Because that also allows us to go, wow, I really have done something amazing. And I can change the world, right? So I just love this. And we've got a lot of amazing people just going nuts now for you. Thanks, Heather.
She's like, great thing, Rhonda, is that for like a lot of businesses, we need awards to get that credibility and industry recognition. And we've had some of our featured cover people and also special features send the profile that they've had in the magazine as part of their award submission. And one lady went in for a final interview with 3 top judges and she said all of their eyebrows just raised like, wow, okay, important. It just gives that credibility. You can't get that anywhere else. There's such an allure with a print product, and it's one of those opportunities. A lot of mags, unfortunately, as far as we know with the research we've done, we're the only ones that offer a cover. Unless you're celebrity status, you can't get on there. And I think that's a crime. There's great women doing great things. Why can't we read about them?
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. And I'd like to ask you, what was your favorite story to tell? We've got a lot of love coming from here. A lot of people are sharing. There's a lot of great audience. And they're saying, yeah, I'd love to know more about how I can get on the cover just inside a feature. So don't worry. Before the end, which we're going to be closing up in just a couple moments, we're going to give you exactly how to reach out to Shar. She'll let her team speak with you on how you can get that feature or even a small article or a back cover. She's got some really amazing things that they do, and how you can leverage this game as well and just be part of this amazing opportunity. But would you share, what was one of your favorite stories that you've told? Is there something that really kicked for you that you really just like, wow, I'm so happy I was able to connect and tell that story?
Oh, look, there's so many, and we're very limited with the stories we can feature. So the ones that make it through have to have touched my heart, and it's not a sale or a transaction for me. It actually has to move me. And we're in a space where we have a very limited advertising pages that we give. The rest is content rich. So we've shifted that model. So, we've had so many. We've had women that have gone through incredible adversity. We've had women that have lost children and now have gone on to do great things. We had a gentleman that we featured maybe nearly 2 years ago, even in the launch issue, I think, and he started microloans in India. And because I'm Indian and I obviously travel there and, I have such an affiliation for that, he was giving these women opportunities to start businesses for micro, like $100 kind of thing. And banks wouldn't touch him, wouldn't fund him and support. He did it all himself. And he was getting a 99.9% return rate because they were so grateful for the opportunity. And that was his why. He wanted to make that difference. And now all the banks are obviously supporting him. And they turn that 100 into a possibility of a better life. And we've shared so many incredible stories. And I must admit, I often get the magazine and I sit down quietly when it turns up and I read it like a consumer. And I get emotional, even though I put the thing together, I get emotional because there are so many great people out there and women that we really focus on. And we just want to give them a platform that they can be heard and seen nationally in Australia, digitally around the world, that no one else is giving them, for them to not talk so much just about their product and service, but to talk about why they put it together. Why did they create that? That's the real story that we love to tap into.
Yeah, amazing. I love this, and everyone is just really loving it. Amazing story. Good evening, Queens, says Sherry. This is really great. So please, would you share with everyone, before I kind of do my last couple of questions at the end that I always want to know more deeply about you, is would you please share with everyone, you know, what do you have available? Like, I know that you guys have a lot of people that are on waiting lists and are, you know, they're working to get into this magazine. What is even possible if some of my audience, because I have coaches, consultants, professionals, really big players that are looking to change this, the platform of how business is done, but how they can impact the world in a grander scale. What is available for this year, and what's the process they would need to do to connect with you to find out more details?
Okay, so look, as I said earlier, that the spaces are limited. We do have a lot of people who apply through our website when they see a feature. So the opportunity is available. We're working on our second birthday issue, which is going on sale 11th of July because it's Master 11 number. So 11th of July around Australia. So we have the cover available for that one. We do a special feature in this July issue called YMag's 8 Female Thought Leaders. And it's a special feature where we get together these incredible 8 women, and they do actually get a digital cover of the mag as well, where they're on it. So there's a special feature. There's a few spots left in that one, and our October's gone. Then we've got our January top 10 women to watch plus cover. Look, there's little bits and pieces scattered through the next year. We do work quite a few ahead, but the best way would just be to email me, because any conversations at that level I do myself. So my name is my email. You can share it later, but shar@sharmoore.com.au. That's the best way. Let's set up a time to chat. And if there's a good energy and it feels right and it's going to honour my readers, that's the critical thing for me. I have to be convinced that readers are so hard to get, and we've got a beautiful, loyal, you know, community we call our She Hive with a Y, are women who buzz, and you know, I need to be convinced that they're going to be all over this like bees to honey, because we don't want to ever lose them. So I need to have that chat and feel into you.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, I'll make sure everyone, and if you need to even reach out to me directly and say, Rhonda, I want more details of, you know, how to connect with Shar, I'll make sure that you get that, and we will give you and everyone the email. We'll post that down below as well if you're on Facebook as well. Thank you. Great, Heather. She actually posted it for us in the chat group in the Facebook live. Excellent. Okay, great. This is really exciting because I, more than ever, that's my mission as well. My why is, of course, to help expose more women to share their story, like bring them out to the world in a better way with confidence, and to inspire them to know that they're worthy and they're valued, and that their knowledge is worthy of being told, and their story is worthy of being told. And so that they can stand in their space and be example to their children, right? That's why we do what we do. All right, so I'm going to just ask you, I have 2 questions to ask you, my dear, before we close up this show. It's very important for me to know this before I can even continue on anymore. All right, red or white wine, or no wine?
White.
Oh, she's a white wine girl.
No, I'm the wine woman. Do you not notice the wine pendant? I have to drink wine.
All right, so she's a white. Okay. Tabasco or sriracha, if you're a spicy.
Oh, sriracha, mate. Born in Thailand. Sriracha, are you kidding me? I'm born in Thailand. Sriracha all the way.
Okay, yeah. I knew you were a spicy girl. Okay. Well, I've been told around, like, literally all over the world, Rhonda, why don't we have an Unstoppable hot sauce? Like, it's ridiculous. You've got to put one together. So, like, oh, man, I know, but I just love, see, I'm a sriracha girl, too. Did you know that there's a green sriracha?
Yes, and it's very, very spicy, just to drop.
It's
Just a
super
drop.
yummy. All right, everyone. Like, I really, Shar, I want you to know from the dearest bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you. I honor you and what you're doing. And I'm so grateful, right? You covered my daughter's story, like unbelievable, like literally from her heart. She just said, look, I want to feature Hanalei. And I said, wow, there's so much to be said about someone like you that wants to touch others' hearts and share their story. And it's such an opportunity, isn't it? It's an opportunity to be in your space and to be connected to you. I am so excited to do more work with you because I'm seeing now what we've got with what I do with my sexy brands and our branding agency. And now with YMag, I'm like, this is like the ultimate woman's dream, right? We have two powerful ladies that have done it, know how to put it together, come together and say, what do you need? Oh, you need to scale that. You need to do this. We can help you, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to just share what we know and help you grow more and your businesses grow and get your message out more to the world. So we got lots of srirachas all the way. Oh, yeah. So why don't you guys always share us what yours is as well? I always love to know that. Okay, Shar, again, thank you so much. I'm really grateful to have you here. Remember, if you would like to know more, you can also go to, what is the website so they can even just see YMag?
Yeah, YMAG, ymag.com.au, YMag Global on Insta, and you can find me all over social media.
Fantastic. And we'll make sure you guys have all of her contact details. If you're in the podcast, it'll be down below. And if you are watching live, thanks for being here. And I have to ask all the rest of you, why aren't you here live? Right? Come live. Come be part of the party every single Wednesday at 10 p.m. All right. Thanks again, everyone. I'm going to leave you with this.
Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Yes, my pleasure. I'm going to leave everyone with this. If you're going to create a brand, create a sexy brand. And if you're going to be anything, be unstoppable. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next week.